So it started with me at Eric Schaffhauser's. We were sitting at the dinner table talking, and then he's like, "You know what, Cody? I'm gonna do you a favor." And so
Eric sent me a Facebook message and said that they had the single youth leader and that he was okay with someone with a non-functioning pancreas. And so he asked me if I'd be interested in going out on a date with him. And I said, yeah, that'd be great.
And I was pretty amped, I guess, but not trying to stay cool.
Cody Herman sent me a Facebook message and I was really excited. And he asked me if I wanted to go out to eat and just get to know each other. And I said, absolutely, that sounds great.
And on my way up, I'm kinda nervous. And I even was talking to Eric about it. And he's like, what if she doesn't like you?
When Cody picked me up to go on the first date, he picked me up at my Aunt Lisa's, and when he drove up and he was wearing like his aviators and his cowboy hat and his red pickup, and he was the best looking guy I'd ever seen in my life. And I couldn't believe I was going on a date with him, so that was really exciting. And we went to Whiskey Creek, and I ordered a steak and he ordered pork chops, and I didn't know if it was gonna work out, but it worked out.
I didn't know she was that big on beef at the time, but I've ordered pork chops there before and they're really good, so that's why I ordered them again.
After our date, we walked around McCrory Gardens for quite a while, and then after that, we walked around Nature Park, and our date turned into a 5-hour meeting, so it was really fun. It was really good.
5 hours later, I'm on my way back to Aberdeen, it was like 11:30, I think, when I left Aberdeen, or Brookings, and called Eric Schaffhauser, and he's like, so how'd it go? And I was like, man, that was really good. I was like, I'm on like cloud 10 right now.
Was it love at first sight?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if it was love, but it was like, oh my, like, it was definitely good. There was nothing bad at first sight. I was definitely infatuated with Cody. First time I met him. Then after the first time I met him, he like drove away, and I was like, I just met the most perfect man ever, and I'm never gonna see him again, because he lived in Aberdeen, and I was going home because school had just gotten over. And so it was kind of a weird way. I didn't realize, but Cody was really scheming to come see me.
On the phone a few times, and Eric said he was going to Sunshine for their graduation.
He went to SBA's graduation, and I went there, so we saw each other, and it was actually kind of awkward because like,
and she was, I think, 2 hours late.
Everybody was there, and we didn't really know each other, and I think we kind of liked each other, but yeah.
I just remember she was giving, AJ was along, and she gave AJ a hug, Eric a hug, and then I wasn't comfortable with hugs yet, so I went up for a handshake.
And I didn't know when the next time I was gonna see him, and then my dad's like, Tricia, invite him out to brand with us. And I was like, Dad, I don't even know who this guy is. I'm not inviting him out to our house.
The next time we were on the phone, she asked if I wanted to come branding out at her ranch, and I said, well.
And he's like, yeah, that sounds great. And I was like, no, he said yes. Because I was like, did not know what to do. Because I don't know, I was a weirdo. And then.
So as I was driving out there, that was a long drive at first, but I was excited. Got out there, and she hopped in with me with some coffee and her vitamin B pill.
And then Cody came out and we branded, and it went really well, and I had a really good time, and I was like, wow, this guy is really great, and he's really funny, and it's like, I like this guy. And we rode around the four-wheeler a lot, we branded, and
I knew she was pretty tough. She got kicked a few times. I was like, that's good in a girl.
He was only gonna stay one day, and then I was like, you know, if you want, you can spend another night. And he had an extra shirt along, just so happenly, so he spent another night. We went to church together, and so I brought this like really good looking guy with me to church, so that was really exciting. And yeah, after that, Cody talked to my dad just to see if we could like continue to get to know each other, and that's what we did. Then I went to Aberdeen a couple times, and Cody came back out, and then he asked me to be his girlfriend, and I said, yep, that sounds great.
All right, so the first time I was gonna ask Mr. Wilkin to marry Tricia, And by the way, Mr. Wilkin, I was super intimidated by you. But so we went out. I remember it was the weekend the Broncos were playing the Falcons, and we went out at halftime to do chores, and I went out to help them. And this is the first time I was going to attempt to ask him. And we were out listening to the game. Of course, the Broncos were losing, so that wasn't a good start. And then went and grabbed a bale. It was an oat bale, and it wasn't a hay bale for the calves. So we ended up dropping that, and then he's like, all right, we can't use that bale. So I was like, all right, that's number 2 strike. I don't think I can do this anymore. So I chickened out the first time I was going to ask him. And then the second time is when I actually did ask him. And so it was Sunday morning. I woke up early to offer to help. And he's like, well, we don't really need help, but you should still come out. I was like, all right, perfect. And so I was out, and we were opening gates to feed the bulls. And as we were closing the gate, I kind of talked to him about the weekend to remember that they kind of recommended. And if they're recommending this weekend to remember about marriage, I was like, all right, this has got to be a good sign. We definitely have to do this.
And so we went the first day, and it was really fun, and it was just really good. Learned a lot of stuff. And the second night, there's like sessions all day, and then at night there's a date night. And so Cody and I went on a date, and we both dressed up, looked really good. He looked really good anyway. And
the second night of the weekend, and I told him, I was like, well, I'd like to ask her to marry me. I guess I can't say I wasn't thinking about it. And then he's like, well, I guess I'd like to ask Lori about it first. I don't think we should put this in there. So I ended up getting his blessing to ask Tricia. And so it was the Weekend to Remember weekend. And it was the second night. We went out to eat at Carnival Brazilian Grill, which is like Tricia is like heaven with all the meat and the pineapple. So it was after that I was driving back we were staying at Maria's parents' place, and they lived on a lake. So I was like, all right, I had stuff ready that week.
And Cody's like, I was gonna build a bonfire. I was like, oh, that sounds great. But then there was a sign there that said no bonfires. And
so I was still thinking of doing it.
Cody's like, should we do it? And I was like, well, I don't really want to get in trouble, but we could. And he's like, better not. And so we were looking at the stars in the back of his pickup, covered in a blanket. It was really cold. And then Cody's like, Tricia, could you see yourself with me for the rest of your life? And I was like, Cody, you know I love you. Of course I could. And then he like brought this little box out, and he's like, well, then will you marry me? And I was like, oh.
She didn't really tell me yeah right away, but she was kind of like, are you serious?
Away, which I meant to, but I was really excited, so I didn't know what to say. And then he's like, well, you're gonna say yes? And I was like, yes, of course. And the rest is history. We're engaged, and we're gonna be the Hermans.
I just want to thank everybody for coming. It's a big time for Tricia and I, and we're just so blessed that everybody's here.
Thanks everybody for coming. It means a lot that you would travel to the end of the earth to come to our wedding, and it means a lot, and we love you all, and thanks for coming. Oh, okay. So where do I look?
Man, this is awkward.
And I went to Aberdeen a lot, and I love Aberdeen. I know every bump in the road. What else do I say? Okay, so I'll just go to the engagement. Is that good? Everything else is dating. Everyone knows what dating is. So
I was glad it ended up being a few more nighters instead of just a one. That sounded bad. Let's not put that in there. Yeah, you should crop that out.
And then, sorry, I'm saying and then a lot. And then you can cut that and then out.
She's a good Christian gal. I creeped her on Facebook. She's definitely pretty.
Should have brought water. And then,
sorry, there's something back there.
squirrel. Yeah, you don't have to be on one knee to get proposed or engaged. And then I started walking around and I was like, bam, I'm engaged. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
I squinted a lot, didn't I? I was always like this.
Sorry. Okay.
So.
What else? Man, we're not leaving until I get one embarrassing story about you. I'm not gonna be the only freak.
Okay. Now, what do you like least about each other?
Cody's the better looking one.
She wants me to fart.
Just kidding. I'm so in love with him, there's nothing I don't like.
So when are you guys having kids?
When she's done with school,
5 years.
3 to 5 years.
Don't ask!
Or whenever God blesses us with.
That's a good answer. When God blesses us, I have to grow up. I have to not be a kid before we can have kids.
I forgot a funny story. So that weekend too, she was sitting on the couch. This is when you know I can marry her. So she was laying on the couch, and I don't know if I was tickling her or pushing on her stomach, but all of a sudden you hear this burn. And I was like, Tricia, was that the couch? And then she starts laughing. She's like, no, I just farted. The funniest thing ever. And so I felt super comfortable after that moment. So I was like, man, this is definitely the one. Yeah, that wasn't that funny, I guess. And this is super awkward.
Cody, stop! We're the Hermans now. Woo!
Thank you. You're gonna have to like crop both of
Cody,
them.
you aren't as awkward as you think you are. Stop it.